Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into something, well, especially relevant with the election coming up, voting. Our listeners sent in this really interesting argument for why voting matters and why I think it's time we unpack it a bit. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good. Let's dive in.
Okay, so this source is really pushing this idea that voting is like way more than just, picking a name on a ballot.
Right.
It's about shaping the future, and I don't mean that in some vague way. This piece talks about like healthcare, think the Affordable Care Act,
Yeah.
education, the economy, heck, even the environment. And all of that comes down to who we're electing.
Exactly. What's really fascinating is how all our individual votes come together.
Right.
It's like this collective power, you know? Even in those states where it feels like one party's got it on lock, a bigger voter turnout is huge.
Yeah.
It forces those in power to see more perspectives, to see what people actually care about.
It's like they can't ignore it if everyone shows up.
Yeah. Like a wave-building momentum.
It's funny because we always hear every vote counts.
Right.
But does it really? Especially, in those states that aren't considered, what are they called? Swing states?
Swing states, right. And yeah, actually it does. The whole swing state thing just shows how a small number of votes can completely change the entire election.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I remember this one election. Can't remember which one exactly right now. But it all came down to like a few hundred votes in just one state.
Wow, that's wild.
It really puts that every vote counts thing into perspective, doesn't
And
it?
it really does. It really does. Something else that caught my eye in this piece was how it talked about voting being both a right and a responsibility.
Absolutely.
And it got me thinking, voting is important, but it can't be the only way we participate in a democracy, can it?
That's such a good point. It's about staying informed, right?
Yeah.
Really getting into the issues, researching the candidates.
Yeah.
And those conversations, the ones that can be tough.
Yeah.
With people who think differently than us. Those are important too.
Oh, for sure. Civil discourse, right?
Yes. And there's so much we can do outside the voting booth too. Contact your representatives, let them know what you think. Volunteer in your community, find a cause you believe in, and fight for it.
Yeah. I remember when I volunteered to help clean up a park in my neighborhood. It wasn't anything big, but it felt good. Like I was actually making a difference in my own little corner of the world.
Exactly. Every little thing adds up. It all matters.
So to bring it all back around, this source is really saying our vote is our voice, and our voice shapes the future.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that leads to a really interesting question, doesn't it?
Oh.
What kind of future do you want to build? What kind of world do you envision?
Now that's something to think about. And for all of you listening, we want to know, what are your thoughts? How are you planning on making your voice heard? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and until next time.